Computer. Let me share. Sorry about the lateness there. I was in the middle of some things. And all right, we're going to get the slides up. Here we go. There we go. Slideshow. All right, welcome to week 11. And this is session one. And we might come back to that. So first movement will be about, we'll make this kind of shorter. We'll make this 6 minutes. I had set aside 10 minutes for welcome, review, and objectives. There's welcome. And so name one thing you're grateful for or a win that you've had. Something that you're grateful for.
I'm grateful for being here today. Just
We're grateful that you're here too. Thank you. I'm grateful that I'm still doing good things with my students. Some of my students are trying. They're trying. They're a tough group of kids, but they're trying. So, Archie and Adi.
I'm grateful that uh like I was getting my braces off and that went pretty smooth.
How does it feel?
Not too it feels pretty good, but like yeah, it feels pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, are you doing this a lot?
Not really, but kind of.
Well, I'm grateful for the extension my math teacher provided for our test that we have. So we'll be having it on Thursday.
Good for you. All right. Okay. We'll do a 478. Okay. We are in the pre-writing and planning stage. Okay, so what I was hoping you guys would have ready, and you'll have it ready today if you don't already, is to look at the writing assignment and to make your selection out of those 6 or 7 choices. All right. So so I will briefly introduce today's focus on deepening analysis and structuring insights for drafting. And I think that you guys get analysis, and I think you're going to get that through the writing. We don't need to spend as much time in the reading, although, and I want to spend more time on the writing assignment and exploring the thinking maps for you. Um, so some of the stuff that you're going to see on the slides, we're going to skip through, um, because I think when we get to the writing part, it seems like that's where we can pick up a lot of that. Um, Session goals, students will use thinking maps to develop layered interpretations, enhancing their ability to analyze and express complex ideas in their writing. And I definitely think that thinking maps are a good place to continue to work. And so last session, we analyzed a nursery rhyme based on successive readings and interpretations. And of course, in Israel, I don't think you were here for that, but we read Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. And then so we made three different interpretations of that based upon like what was our first initial um, impressions and what came to mind in terms of what it meant, the interpretation. And then we did that through a second reading. And then thirdly, I gave everyone some historical background information upon this and what it meant and who was Jack. You know, Jack was King Louis the 16th and he was beheaded, so therefore he lost his crown. And so what we were trying to emphasize there is that when you're analyzing something, it's very useful to isolate and just almost divide and conquer, right? Like if you have a football team that you're playing, and this is the team that's beat you in the past, um, when you go into that game mode, your coach is talking to you. He says, "Well, remember this is this such and such team, and remember that their main strength is this, right? Is the quarterback um, has a good running game, right? So we just need to focus on that. And so when you analyze something, you kind of zero in on something um, to pick apart how it works. And then you look at it a second time, you look at it a third time, and you kind of layer these different views in. And um, so you get a more complete look at something. And we also talked about asking the right questions will give you the right focus for your essay. Whatever you're curious about is going to determine how you write. And if you're in an advanced class, you know that you can talk about a historical perspective of a poem. You can talk about what the sounds and the imagery mean. You can talk about the author and what was the background of the poem. But it's helpful to really zero in on what am I going to focus on in my particular paper, and just being aware of that. And that way, you're not being you're not getting what's the word sidetracked with other things. And that's going to give you more power. And then the other thing that we've been talking about is the more minute you can make something, right? You start off here, and I know we talked about this on Saturday, Archie. Here's the topic, and then here's my focus, and then let's take something that I know about that I really care about on this topic, and now let's narrow it down. And that is going to give you more power when you write. There's going to be a 27-minute video from the session from last Friday. So Wednesday. So definitely watch that session if you weren't present. And all right, so we're going to do analyzing, mapping, and building interpretations. So we're going to do a little bit of analysis and discussion for about 10 minutes, thinking maps for interpretation for 20 minutes, building interpretive outline for about 15 minutes. I think we'll skip this first part here, and then we'll spend the 10 minutes just kind of looking at and talking to you about your writing choices. Okay, so we're going to skip this part here, which would have been looking at a poem. And Okay. I'm gonna get rid of that slide there. It's gonna confuse me. All right, that slide is old. Okay, got rid of it. So what I'm going to do now is shift over to the writing assignment itself. Right here. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, who has selected their topic? So none of you guys have done that yet, right? Oh, you have, Archie. Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
oh sorry.
yeah, go
It's
ahead.
the one about the song, like analyzing the song.
Oh, great, great. Okay. So the rest of you will want to make a choice, a preliminary choice. Now, you can probably change your mind after today's session, but you don't want to go until Wednesday in not knowing what you're going to write about. So I'm going to kind of so let's go through these. And I'm just going to read the description of all seven of these. I think there's seven. And then I want you guys to make a choice. And think of it this way. Normally you're given a choice, right? I'm not given a choice, but you're given a writing prompt and you're just stuck with it, right? So I would go ahead and make a choice and not overthink it too much, at least, eh, and kind of stick with it if you can. All right. So behavior analysis. Why do seniors behave the way they do? Neighborhood dynamics. Why does my neighbor behave that way? 3, sports fan culture. Why do Yankees fans behave the way they do? Now you can change that to anything. You can have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if you want. You could have the Kansas City Chiefs, the 49ers if you want. You can change the sport completely to soccer if you want. But you're probably gonna want to focus on a sport. Maybe that's not your favorite, perhaps, but one that you're more familiar with, right? Because we do want to write what we know about as much as possible. Number 4, and I'll go back to these, by the way. Personal relationships. Why does my girlfriend, boyfriend, best friend behave that way? Song interpretation. Analyze the lyrics of a song that resonates with you. 6, poetry analysis. Jack and Jill, Richard Cory, or any poem of your choice. And that is it. Let's go back. And if I can have a volunteer to read these, we'll just take turns. All right. Why don't we just go round robin? I'll start and we'll go alphabetically. All right. So this assignment requires you to analyze the behavior of high school seniors. Consider the various influences that shape their actions, such as social dynamics, academic pressure, and personal expectations. Explore how these factors manifest in day-to-day behaviors, including their interactions with peers and teachers and how they might be preparing for life after graduation. Now, what's kind of cool about this is you're going to have some kind of opportunities to actually pick up some knowledge, right? Again, I'm not going to go through these in detail, but there are some exercises for you where they're not completely necessary, but they might be helpful. So, for example, you might spend a week observing seniors in various settings. So let's read through all of these 6. Then when you have one that's kind of your first choice, then at that point, I'll give you some time to read this for whatever choice you have. So we'll go back to that. All right, number 2, neighborhood dynamics. Why does my neighborhood behave that way? And can I get Adi?
Investigate the behaviors of a specific neighbor. Begin by observing their interactions and routines. Consider how personal experiences, community norms, and socioeconomic factors influence their behavior. Analyze specific instances that illustrate their character and offer insight into how these behaviors may reflect larger social themes.
Yeah, I can give you an example. I had a neighbor that I came home one time at 2 o'clock in the morning because I was doing events at that time, and it was raining. And my neighbor had his car headlights on in the rain, and he was cutting his grass with the lawnmower in the rain at 2 in the morning. And then we also found out that he had a repo yard in his backyard. So he had cars that he was repossessing. So we kind of figured that, well, he's probably a drug dealer and he's probably, um, because why else would you mow your lawn at 2 in the morning in the heavy rain, right? Okay, so that's just a fun example. Okay, Archie.
In this piece, analyze the culture of Yankees fans, attend a game or engage with a local fan group to observe and record behaviors. Reflect on the emotions tied to sports fandom and how they can lead to both positive and negative behaviors. Examples: camaraderie versus hostility. Consider factors like team loyalty, the impact of community identity, and the thrill of competition.
I mean, you could even, um, there might be some family aspect to that too, or friend aspect. Could be some traditions that you have, right? So here are some exercises you can do. Personal relationships. Why does my girlfriend, boyfriend, or best friend behave that way?
Analyze the behavior of some close to you, be it a romantic partner or a best friend. Identify specific behaviors that puzzle you or pique your interest. Consider how past experiences, societal expectations, and personal dynamics contribute to their actions. This assignment allows for deep personal reflection and requires you to balance subjective insights with objective analysis.
Okay. I mean, you could explore social media as well. I don't know if you guys have noticed how social media has become more prevalent. Is that a reality for you guys, or has it always been as long as you've been alive? Because I know you guys are kind of on the younger side. Have you noticed any shifting changes in social media behavior?
Yeah, a little bit. Nothing like significant though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's new for us, older folks, because we didn't grow up with that. All right, number five, song interpretation. Analyze the lyrics of a song that resonates with you. Description. Choose a song that has significant meaning to you and analyze its lyrics. Identify the key themes and messages, paying attention to how the artist conveys emotions and experiences through their words. Consider the cultural context of the song and its potential impact on listeners. Okay. And number six, we have Adi.
Poetry. Students analyze a poem of their choice, such as Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson, the nursery rhyme Jack and Jill, or any other poem that resonates with them. This option invites students to delve into the poem's themes, language, tone, and context.
Okay. One of the things that may be useful to you guys, I'll show you kind of briefly, is this kind of layered reading right here. And so I'm not going to read through all of it other than you have a first draft reading, um, second draft, and this can go for a poem or a song. You have a third draft reading and then a fourth draft reading. Um, so I'll give you more direction if I feel that one of you is going to select a poem. And I
Oh,
think
and
that
Mr.
art, yeah, what's that?
Oh, I have to leave early today since it's Monday.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. And what we're going to do here, um, let's take a sneak peek at the rest of the slides. So what I'm going to actually do is um, I'd like you to make a preliminary choice.
Hmm.
And then what I'm going to do is that's going to help me prepare for which kind of thinking map would be helpful to you guys. There are 8 altogether. I haven't downloaded or created. I have to create from scratch all 8 of these. So I would like each of you to, first of all, Adi and Israel, does either of you have a choice?
I'll get one by Wednesday.
You'll
Same
have
with
one by
me. I don't
Wednesday.
have a choice yet.
Okay. Is there one that you're kind of thinking maybe might be interesting to you?
Mm, I don't really know yet. They're all pretty interesting. I have to still like narrow it down.
Okay.
Maybe number one, I guess.
Here's what can we do this? Can you by Tuesday at this time send me an email or some sort of message and then tell
Okay.
me what your choice is? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare um, and you can see here that there's a chart that I created of thinking maps. So for example, for Archie, she's going to be doing a song interpretation. Um, and so I suggested for her that she can do a multi-flow map or a brace map, and a brace map is something new. So I'm going to need to prepare for that because they're not easy to find on the internet. So I'm going to have to create one probably from scratch and then do that. So um,
Okay. I'll figure it out. I'll probably get it
yep,
back to you soon.
yep. All right. Well, enjoy your tutoring session, and I think is there anything else? One last quick thing. I don't want to make you late, but let me just let me know if you have to go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Homework. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is the right homework here. It's over here. Yeah, just ignore this particular homework because I think I'm just doing something more adaptive for you guys because I don't want to just try to do these slides because I find sometimes that the focus is overly on the slides and not on the lesson. I don't want to do that. All right, Adi, we'll see you on Wednesday and
Thank you.
have a good one. Take care. And Izzy, not to put you on a spot, but to put you on a spot. Is there one of these that kind of gets your attention? One is analyzing the behavior of seniors. Neighborhood dynamics. Why does my neighbor behave that way? Sports fan culture.
For the sports fan culture, you did say it doesn't have to be like about like the topic that it was like for like that one was the Yankees. It doesn't have to be about that one, correct?
No, you can pick your team and you can pick your sport.
Okay, I'll probably do sports culture there.
Okay. Do me a favor and send me a message anyway
Email.
through email just to confirm, and you can do that tomorrow. And then that way, what I want you to do as part of your homework today, you're going to go through and look at number 3, and you're going to actually go through the exercises here. Um, Now, I wouldn't don't get stuck on this part here. I know it talks about media analysis and thesis requirement. Thesis is going to be important, of course. Um, a thesis where you make a strong statement of what you think something means, right?
Hmm.
And a thesis basically is a statement that people can disagree with. It's never going to be something like Yankees fans are passionate about the game
Yeah.
because it's too general. You might say something like Yankees fans in particular are the most spirited out of all the baseball teams,
Mhm.
right? Um, because what happens is when you make a statement like that, you're forced to defend it. And the reader is also motivated to read what you wrote because they're thinking to themselves, oh, wait a minute. I think it's the Dodgers. I think he's wrong. So, like,
Yeah.
let's deal with this. Let's read. So, that's the kind of thing that happens when you actually make a strong statement. Um, all right. Okay. So, what we'll do now is we're going to step into, and let's pretend that you're going to do that actually. Um, well, let's start with Archie's here. And have you had time to read through the particulars of your assignment, the actual exercises?
No, could we go through that?
Let's do that. Let's do that right now.
Thank
And what I also want to do for you is I'm a real fan of decision matrices, or there's another word for it, but basically a matrix. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about because that is something you guys have actually, believe it or not, you've seen the matrix when we were doing this, and I'll show you. Um, Basically, where you had, remember the chart the first day? Um, and um, there was McDonald, well, there's Romeo and Juliet, and you had different ways of looking at the same story. And then you had the different years. Yeah, 2004. Who were the celebrities in 2004? What was everybody thinking about in 2004? And then you had 2005, right? So you
Mhm.
could systematically compare information against other information to kind of see everything. I think that's going to be even, it could be even more important than a thinking map. So we'll explore that a little bit. But I want each of you to walk away with kind of a clear understanding of the writing topic today. And then one of my goals for myself is to know what your writing topic is and to know kind of what your initial feelings about it are and what things you might need. And then that way I can be best prepared for the next session to say, okay, for you, we're going to work on this. For you, we're going to work on that. Um, all right. Students analyze a poem of their, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Song. Do you have a particular song in mind?
Yeah, I'm thinking of High Hopes by Panic at the Disco.
High hopes. High hopes. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna get a pen real fast. By the way, don't feel like you have to stick with that. You might end up changing that drastically. It really is okay. Um, I just wanted to get an idea. High hopes by what's the name of the artist again?
Oh, Panic at the Disco.
Panic at the Disco. Okay. Research the background of the song and the artist. How do historical or cultural factors influence the lyrics? Okay. So there's going to be some research here. Here's what I'm going to say your plan of attack is going to be, and you may want to write this down, is you're going to read the poem probably about 4 or 5 times. The first time And you're also going to write this down. So I'm going to break it down for you like this. Number one is, what does the song say? What does the song say? Um, Now, I want you to draw like a box around each of these four. There's going to be four things I'm going to call out. And I'm not saying that each of these four corresponds to each successive reading. What I am saying is that perhaps you might read it twice for what does the song say. So let's just understand the principle. We need to kind of understand what a song says. And then what does the song not say? What does it not say? Okay. And that is going to be part of, I think certainly you can, when you do your research and get the background, you might pick up some of that. But oftentimes, we don't even need to know about the background or doing your research, know what a song doesn't say. Because if a song says something like, it's all about, let's see what I'm trying to say here. Yeah. Okay. Get ready, everybody. Get your umbrellas. It's beginning to rain, right? So what does it say? Well, he's saying get your umbrellas, it's start to rain. But what does he not say? Well, what he's not saying is that getting wet is not an option. It's just assumed. See that? So why would we assume that people want to have an umbrella if it's raining? So there are some people that enjoy feeling the rain on their head. And what's the with the assumption that this person is going to go outside? Maybe they're indoors and the person say, get your umbrellas ready, it's starting to rain, but this person's making a big assumption there. That's what's not being said. And oftentimes this is a good filter through which to understand a passage, a Yankees fan, whatever topic it is. So number three, and I want you to draw a box around this as well. There's going to be four of them. And Izzy, I'm sorry, you could write this down too. I think this is important for any topic. Um, Number one, what does the song or the poem or that story, what does it say? Number two, what does it not say? Number three, how does it say it? How does it say it? Does it paint a word picture? Does it make you sad? Does it rhyme a lot? It could be everything about the tone of the words, the mood of the poem or the song. And lastly, what does it mean? No, what does it say? What does it all mean? So that could be your thesis right there. All right, now, anytime you're reading a poem or song, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this together. I mean, I'm sure there's a list I've had somewhere at some point. But typically, first read, and this is, you can put A, B, C, D if you want, so you don't confuse it with the other four, is who, what, why, when, where. Basically, what's happening, or what does a song say? It could be what does it say? But being more specific about that who, what, when, where, why, and how. Now, we're just talking the literal layer of a poem. In other words, who's speaking? Are they in a restaurant? Oftentimes it's very difficult to figure out what that is. Like if you ever heard My Last Duchess, which is a poem, um, basically a guy is standing in front of a painting upstairs during a party. Now he doesn't tell you this, but you kind of figure it out from the poem itself. So the song itself might have that in it, or it may not really, but at least that will cover anything there. The second reading is so if you want to in parentheses, you can put denotative. And sorry, guys, you know what I'm going to probably do is I'll type this up and I'll put this in Google Classroom. So, um, but I'm just kind of doing it now on the fly because you just told me what your topic is. So the denotative is the dictionary definition, right? The literal meaning. Second read is the connotative, Connotative meanings. So, what are the suggested meanings? What are the extended meanings? What is being suggested? Um, if there's a song about a fire, for example, you might figure out upon first read that, okay, some guy, my next door neighbor started a fire, and the fire kind of spread to the rest of the neighborhood. But upon second reading, I might discover that the poem seems to be saying that this was he started an uproar. He started some sort of movement, some sort of social movement in the neighborhood. And this is symbolized by the fire, right? So a fire oftentimes signifies passion or something's out of control or even a bad temper, by the way. Um, so it could be signifying that this is a very contentious and conflict-ridden era or situation, right? Um, and then a third reading, I would say, um, I don't know what to call it, but basically, author's choice, perhaps. So you begin to ask, why did the author break up the poem this or the song this way? Why did they choose these words? And it can be corresponding to how does it say it, right? Um, Fourth read can be so there's a lot of reads, by the way. Um, I guess the fourth read we can say, what does the song not say? Or the poem, what does it not say? And okay, and under number four, the fourth read, at that point, don't do the fourth read until you've done some research on the song, right? So research the background of the song and the artist, how do historical or cultural factors influence the lyrics. If there's any other question that comes to mind that I did not include here, feel free to include that. Um, but that's just a start there. All right. And then for Izzy, I think what I'm going to do, let me look at this. All right, so we're gonna let's look at the thinking map for this. I'm just kind of curious. Talking about a multi-flow map, analyze similarities and differences in behaviors and motivations among Yankees fans. So in other words, why do they act a certain way? What led to them acting a certain way? So I do think that a multi-flow map is going to be helpful here. Um, I'm not sure about a brace map. Let me look at that. Um, we can certainly do a flow map, and we'll talk about this more on Wednesday. But I'm going to show you guys a it's got some writing space here. Let's see. Goodness. I think okay, that's what's okay. This is what I'm looking for right here. Okay, what I was talking about before is a chart like this is our best friend, I think, when we're analyzing, because we can kind of categorize information there. So you can see, just by way of review, that in Florida, there was a recount during the 2000 election. So what was it? What was the main thing going on in 2000? It was the Florida recount. What was newish? What was sort of new in 2000 was the tiniest phone. And what was happening in business? You had rolling blackouts for some reason. What were the fears in 2000? That things were not big enough. So, oh, sorry, more is not enough. Um, I'm confused by that because it's a negative. So, a fear around more is not enough. Um, all right, the maverick for 2000 was John McCain. Um, he didn't do everything that Republicans would expect him to do, so he was kind of outside the norm. And who were the champions at the time? Shaq and Kobe. All right, so you get the idea there. We're going to create a matrix now for um, each of these topics, and then I'll start with the Yankees. Not the Yankees, but whatever team I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you an example with the 49ers. And let's kind of create this together. So let's kind of think together. And Archie, you can do this as well. Can we think about some different categories, some different aspects of fan life? Right. Now, I'm going to do this because I think it's a little confusing, a little vague in terms of my directions. But if I show you, it's going to make more sense, I think. So we can say here, okay, name a team that you want me like in football besides the Niners. How about the Bucks, the Buccaneers? Think so? Okay. So this is going to be the team. Um, fan hot buttons. Okay. Okay, let's see here. I don't know why this is not up again. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. I gotta have multiple pages here because otherwise it just it doesn't open a new tab. All right. Yeah, workspace is here. Okay. Let's go back. Okay. So basically we're taking notes. Here we go. Analyze the culture of Yankees fans. So that's one category that we can talk about. Um, attend a game or engage with a local fan group to observe and record behaviors. So definitely we're going to look at behaviors. We can put that as a category. What other categories do you see here? So
Well,
here, yeah, go ahead.
one of them can be like the emotions related to it.
Okay, you know what I'm thinking of when you say that. Um, until I can make up my mind, and this is kind of what I go through as a writer, right? Is I'm going to do both a multi-flow map and a matrix. But so we're going to hold off on the flow map, the multi-flow map. But the multi-flow map is perfect because it talks about cause and effect. So what causes um, sports fans to behave a certain way? Or could emotions be the result of that? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know, right? It doesn't matter. It's controversial, but we will have to make a choice, right? We might say that behaviors cause emotions or emotions cause behaviors. I mean, it's kind of complex, but we're just coming up with categories. So we're going to come up with emotions. I'm going to write that down. What are some of the factors that you see here? Consider factors like what? So help me out, guys.
Um,
Can we talk about the loyalty factor? Can we talk about the impact of community identity or the
what
importance of
about
community?
yeah? You can also add like culture in there, like a culture factor.
Okay, cultural factor. And can we need to define that a little bit more specifically, right? Culture is
Yeah.
so vague. So, but that's great because we'll just use that as one of the categories, and then we can compare and contrast. Um, I would even say, okay, I'm going to do this.
Well, could you also add like intensity of team pride?
Okay, team pride intensity. Is that right? Should we keep hot buttons? And guess what? We can even there's some flexibility with the writing assignment. We can come up with an additional category. Maybe I missed one. So could we do family or like traditions?
Mm, we could do more like a history thing. I wouldn't say traditions.
Oh, history.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. So the way that certain teams come into being might affect the fan experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what was interesting? In 1978, in my city, San Francisco, one of the supervisors, he murdered the mayor and one of the other
Wow.
supervisors in City Hall. He literally
Wow.
shot them in the face. Our city was going through such turmoil at that time, 1978, right? What happens in 1980, 1981? The 49ers started to win Super Bowls. And I remember the mayor came out and said, This is a new day in San Francisco's history. We've turned a corner and we're ready to look in the future. And everybody agreed. So I love that you brought up history, Izzy, because if I were to talk about the 49ers history, you know what I'm going to put here? Um, it healed city tragedies. Not only that, there was a Jonestown murder, there was a cult, and there was a cult leader that took about 1,000 people with him to British Guiana, and 900 people committed suicide by drinking Kool-Aid. 900 people, women, children. So that's why it's not funny, but in a way, it's kind of funny when people say, "Oh, she's drinking the Kool-Aid. She just believes whatever they say." That's where that came from because it was poisonous Kool-Aid. So that was one of the other things that happened that the mayor said, everybody, we're going to celebrate the 49ers. We're going to have a big parade, all of this stuff. So you can see here, strong following trauma, right? So 49ers have a rich history in that. Team pride, gold, right? You think about the 49ers, it's all about 1849 and the gold rush, right? That's where that name came from. And that came from Nevada and California. You remember all the move, go west, young man, right? All of that. So that can be part of the history as well. The gold rush, right? Now you can begin to understand some of the 49er pride, right? Um, Cultural aspects, right? What do we mean by culture? So maybe for the 49ers, the culture is winning brings people together, right? Or how about this? A sports culture deeply ingrained in the fabric of civic life. Okay, help me out here. So, Buccaneers. So, are you beginning to get the idea now? Look at how we can analyze something such as, and now remember, our topic here, our driver is what? What's the main topic here for this particular example? Why do 49ers fans or Yankees fans
Yeah,
or Buccaneers fans behave the way they
behavior.
do,
Yeah.
right? So now you
Yes,
can
sir.
explain that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. All right. Is this useful to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's spend a couple of minutes looking at the song here. High hopes. Panic at the Disco. Had to, oh, goodness. All right. I know what I'm going to do here. Watch. Hopefully I can get this done. All right. I think there we have it. We're not going to have a lot of time for this, but I just want to give you an idea here. Could we create a graph for this, just like we did with the sports fans topic? Um, well, I would say probably we got to look at the topic. And I think it's number 5. Choose a song that has significant meaning to you and analyze its lyrics. Identify the key themes and messages. This is easy for us now because this becomes our matrix. So, again, I ask you the same question: what can create our categories? So we have themes, messages, right? Those are going to be different. So a theme is more like a topic. You get that, right? Now, how artists conveys emotions and experiences through their words. What about experiences? Is that something we want to look at? Yeah, I would think that perhaps experience can explain what's happening in the song, because it's always about the human experience, right? So experience, let's say the human experience or the experience of the writer. Cultural context of the song, its impact on listeners. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a little trick here, by the way, but let me first complete this matrix. I know it's 5:30. Can you guys give me about 4 minutes?
Yes, we can. I can.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks, Archie. I'm going to copy this here. Now, I'm just doing this trial and error here. I'm not even sure if this is the right thing that we want to do, but now if you want to get more insight, sometimes you might look at another song by the same band, or you might look at there's actually an old song from the 60s, I think. He's got high hopes, he's got high hopes. You might compare and contrast, not necessarily in your essay, but to give you some insight, some give you some points of comparison. Does that make sense? Um, okay. I'm not sure if this is the right one. Oh, yes. High hopes. You kind of laugh at the song. It's almost like making fun of somebody. I always felt like, okay, so he's not going to make it, but he's got high hopes. Oh, look at this silly guy. All right. We're going to look at you could create other categories as well. So when you think about a song, and you'll have some time between now and Wednesday, um, as you're thinking about this, perhaps to come up with other categories. So you don't necessarily need to use these ones here. Um, this should be available to you guys. So if you want to look at this chart between now and Wednesday, it's up there in the it's called Analyze Interpret Passages with Charts and Workspace. I'm going to just change the title here so that it jumps out. Let's just put Workspace. Okay, that's a place where sometimes we'll write together and it's a shared document, so we can always see it. That's it for today. So one thing that you found helpful today, or one question that you have, or both.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Let me see what's
Well,
going on here.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
I liked how you're asking us to structure our research per se of our topic that we're trying to write about. So with the four
Have I been
points.
sharing? Sorry, have I been sharing this whole time?
What do you mean? Like you have your
Um,
Word doc, your Google Docs open?
you've seen the doc, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure because like I saw you guys now. So analyzing, say that again. You liked how?
Uh, I appreciate how you are giving us like a kind of rubric on
Yeah.
how to structure the research for the topic we're writing about.
Are you talking about the matrix?
Yeah,
Those those elements right there?
yeah.
Yeah. And I took those directly from the topic. Um, yeah, that's going to be good. And then you know that you can kind of cheat in a way. And I never thought of it that way, but when you have a thinking map and you do a lot of writing in it, little notes here and there like that, you're pretty much writing as you go. And I love it because it's there's no pressure there. It's just kind of like writing for yourself. Like you're writing out your thoughts and everything. And that's where some of your best ideas come out. And you just use that stuff when you do your actual draft and everything. All right, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and we'll jump right in.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Have a good evening.
You too, likewise.